Hello everyone, welcome back to English 1510, covering a number of different things for the online courses. I have a few of you in online and then some of the workings through of face-to-face that are going to overlap with these. Got two different variations for online courses right now that out of all of my online courses, you have one of two different displays right now. They're slightly different on the home screen, and I'll cover both of those. But as a starting point here, I want to use a brief layout here of overview of the main things that I'm touching base on for this week and what you need to be making sure you're mindful of here. Reminder of change due dates and rhetorical analysis, memoir components, access to older drop boxes, and the upcoming rewrites. Open office hour sessions, which is what I'll be talking about today, again for this week and a potential of next week. Librarian videos, library sourcing from OCC databases, and then this week's assignment, research paper summary with working thesis. Now, reminder of change due date and rhetorical analysis. So, for the two different classes, or two different layouts, I should say, for all of my online classes, there are two different variations. Both of these ones are the same for any one of the classes online. You'll see that the layout here and here, this opening content is the same. Rhetorical analysis, final draft, extended, and workshopping. On this, make sure you review the week's posting. This was posted up last week on the 10th. I posted this later on as a change to the due date of the rhetorical analysis final draft. Instead of it being due on the 13th, I'm extending it to the 19th of March. That was to make sure everyone got feedback from me with enough time to be able to go through those content files and do revisions. The first component of the research paper is still due this upcoming Monday of the 20th at 11:30. So this is making sure that these don't overlap entirely. You'll be getting this one done by the 19th, this one done by the 20th. Many of you had difficult circumstances pop up. I understand that those things happen. Just know that I can do all I can within reason to accommodate student needs. If something comes up, message me above in the D2L instant messaging. Remember, that's here. Refrain from the emails if at all possible. Send the messaging here if you got questions and comments on some of these things, and we can start from that point. Now, the difference in two of the layout here things on these, I got the reminder of the due date, and I'll be talking about these different components of memoir now that rewrites will be coming up. I'm almost finished with everyone, both on rhetorical analysis, everything I have, and the memoirs up to the final draft, so we'll be getting to those. But looking to this open office hour session, I want to touch base real fast on the home screens. For some of the online sections, you'll see this, that it goes right into the course schedule below. And the open office hour session is all, the content information is listed here. And the audio file that's related to it is all the way down at the end of the course schedule and tentative plan of work session. These were the memoir final comments, and then the open office hour session and what I was talking about there. You can review this here. It just means that at 1 p.m. on Tuesday during the week, last week and this week, I put aside time to be in a classroom there for anybody who wanted to come in and workshop ideas. That also included some face-to-face 1510 students and some other sections as well if students were coming in for those. At this time, I don't need students to make an appointment, but just note that it is first come, first serve. So if it gets any more packed this week, and I do decide to extend it, I haven't decided to extend it to next week or thereafter yet. I will make that announcement later this week once I see what tomorrow's turnout is like. But for the other course, the open office hour session information is listed here, not underneath the tentative overview for week 10. It's not listed there. It's listed here in this its own little announcement window with the audio portion right here included. That was just a layout issue when I was posting these up. So in any event, on here, those sessions will take place at 1 p.m. I'll stay in there for at least an hour, longer if I need to, but if no one shows up by 1:50, I will go. So here on this piece, talking about memoir components, access to older drop boxes, as I said, I am fairly close to being finished with everyone, not only all the rhetorical analysis component pieces, but all the memoir stuff up through the final drafting. Final draft on those for everyone else who doesn't have it posted already. Should be posted sometime this week. Remember, the final draft of it is what you can rewrite, so look those over. Make sure you've reviewed all the feedback files for summary and outline and the rough draft and the final draft. For some of you, remember, rough draft is just draft credit. I was more extensive on those for a lot of you guys because there were so many errors there and issues to address, but most of you from here on, I'm just going to recommend you back to ASC tutoring for those things. There's so many issues at the sentence level for some of you that the writing doesn't show a 1510 level writing. In any event, when I said on here about access, memoir components, access to old draft boxes and rewrites for all classes, I did make it so that under assignments, these are accessible so that you can go in and look at the content again. But remember, this doesn't mean you're redoing this. Late work for the class is not accepted. If you didn't do it right the first time, that was on you in the assignment components. None of this changed, and there were several different overview videos that touched on all of this, including one additional one in just this Dropbox. So the submissions that I got that were off on memoir all the way through, there's really no excuse for any of them that I can see. Students saying things about, I did this differently in the past and things, but you are in this class now and supposed to be doing this assignment. This was the summary outline template that students were supposed to fill out. And they were supposed to be doing this in a way that gave a good indication to me as the reader what the overall memoir was. And this is the same thing on the summary outline for the rhetorical analysis, right? You're supposed to put a summary in here of your memoir, remove any of these examples that were put on this page and put your general statement, your specific, your topic section, then remove this example thesis and put yours here on the memoir. This is what was supposed to be filled out. Then in rhetorical analysis, it was the one for that Dropbox. But all assignment components were always included in these things. I've just opened up access to them again as you're doing your revisions so that when you're redoing a final draft, I have the Dropbox open now for rewrite, and I have it open all the way till April 10th, which will guarantee that everyone has at least 2 weeks to do a rewrite on those. Okay, so what you're doing is you're not going to summary, outline, and rough draft and revising those. You're going to what you see eventually on the final draft commentary, and if I recommend changes from both of these, then go to those too, but the starting point will be your final draft. So when I look at the final drafts, I'll make any necessary corrections there. That doesn't mean I'm going line by line, sentence by sentence to address all run-ons, punctuation, verb issues, and things like that. Some of you simply have to spend more time dedicated to addressing the problems you have with your writing at the very basic level, which for nearly every student in the class that has those, I've addressed from week 1 all the way through, and I'm not seeing much application of any principle, including the tutoring services that are available to address them. I can't do much more with those things besides that. If you're not going to do the work, there's nothing I can do. It's not a class where I'm going grammar, mechanics, punctuation, style, and doing it at the basic sentence level throughout the term. So on here, that Dropbox is open. That doesn't mean you can resubmit. It means you can review the content that is in there. Once you see the final draft up, you will then be able to do your rewrite and submit it into the Dropbox. Around April 10th, I'll start going through those rewrites, and anybody who did all the corrections that I marked and also went through tutoring on those to address sentence level issues if necessary, I will apply that back to your final draft grade, and you can earn points back. Open office hour sessions, as I already mentioned, are on there. Here for the library videos, and then library sourcing from OCC databases. Here in week 10, last week in week 9, you had the first 2 that you were supposed to watch. As I said, I moved the due date on here, and I also marked it as an update on there. On week 10, you have the second 2 that you're supposed to watch on there, and then you're getting into your summary and working thesis of this for the research paper. Now, if I'm talking about the videos that you need to be watching from the librarians, here under the content folder, English 1510 research and MLA citation videos, these right here, it's all the way from citation through argumentation. You're not doing argument, you're just doing a report. You were supposed to have watched these two last week and then these two this week. So make sure that you do. They help you get your bearings for understanding the databases, finding the right types of sources, doing this week how to find articles, and then doing MLA citations. Remember that in your textbook reading, you already had MLA formatting in that you're reading. There's also a page in there that shows what an MLA formatted document looks like. There's also an example of a works cited page. I also want to remind some of you that under instructional links, you have things down here, right? MLA formatting, quote, quotes within quote, MLA formatting of a paper. For some of you, I have paper submissions that still look nothing like an MLA formatted draft, which I'm marking down pretty significantly in final drafts, especially moving forward. If you still don't know how to format a paper in MLA, make sure that you watch this video as a review and read the chapter in your textbook you were already supposed to have read. Now, for week 10, the actual assignment here is to pick a research topic from this Dropbox and do the summary, working thesis with your initial works cited. Make sure that you watch this video. Make sure that you read through all the assignment instructions here. The template that is included, I'm going to close this one out here. This week's assignment and research paper is the last thing that I'm going over on this. But on here, the summary with the template for this summary with working thesis, you're doing this in third person and you're writing out what the description of the topic is, give the real world example, something that you may have to look up in the news, maybe through our databases, search your topic and find a real world example that you can put in here. Doesn't mean you have to have a citation here in this, just refer to it. Explain why people should know about the topic. Is there a current relevance to the topic you're referring to here? If you pick something like in the topic section of daily exercise, what are the most significant benefits? Well, if that's the case, you might want to explain that as people should know that for their own health benefits because of longevity and other things like that. Give at least 3 relevant background and historical details about the topic. That means setting established precedent and context for your reader. What are the historical details that your reader should know before getting into this? And then your working thesis. What would be the main thing about this? So for something like daily exercise, what are the most significant benefits of both physical and mental? You might say on here, there are, if daily physical exercise is applied, there are 3 or 4 significant categories of benefit in terms of mental and physical benefits, whatever you're going to say in terms of this. Remember that this should be a thesis that's leading toward body paragraph supports. So word it in that way. If this piece is done correctly, potentially it will end up being your actual, majority of content for your intro paragraph. Now, if you simply go down here and hit enter and go to a new page, you can just center this here, go down, go back to the left-hand side, and begin your entries for your works cited page as long as they're in MLA format. Remember, all of these would need to be in MLA format, which means that on this page here, you would also switch these over to a Times New Roman, right, in terms of the font style. Now, for next week, primary points of support and preliminary works cited template, that's going to be you giving the topic sentences and then continuing your works cited. Your first one has to be a 10 sources minimum. Make sure you go through all of this content description here and the assignment itself. It's describing essentially what some of the requirements for this week and next. And remember that from your home screen on here, when you're doing your research, you're using student services, library. Once you've watched those videos, you can begin your general search here, right? But you want to make sure that you select for 2 things: full text available and peer-reviewed sources. You might also want to narrow this field here and see what you get if you apply the filters to get all of your peer-reviewed full text available sourcing. And then on any of these, when you're working through them, if you take a look at these, most of these have a citation included where you can pull them up on the 8th edition MLA, and for this you can copy it into the clipboard, or you can go to the actual page of the article and get it from there.